I think there's a lot of important reasons to be a feminist, and some reasons much more important than the ones I'm about to give you for myself. But since I am something of an aesthete, I'm going to give you just one concrete reason why. Now let's think about the history of literature. In the early modern period, who do we have? Dante, Milton, Shakespeare, Cervantes, Racine, and Pope, so on. Not until the 1800s do we actually find prominent women writers who we still read and enjoy today. I mean, there's some exceptions, including Bradstreet and Juana Iñes de la Cruz, but for the most part, women only got started in the 1800s, and with the novel. So let's think of just English writers: Jane Austen, Emily Bronte, and Charlotte Bronte, Emily Dickinson, George Eliot, who, by the way, had to use a male pseudonym for fear of not being respected as a female writer. Christina, Rossetti, and others. Now, obviously, there might be some psychological differences between men and women. For example, at the Body Worlds exhibit, I don't know if you've been to that, but I read that women actually have an easier time learning different languages. So that might be a concrete difference. But as far as being able to write imaginative, good creative literature, I don't think there is anything there being a male or female is at all a determinant of that. So obviously men were writing, it was only great men writers before for other reasons. Now keep in mind that in Shakespeare's time, women were actually considered property either of their fathers or their husbands. Which means that if someone raped a woman, it would actually be considered a property crime against either the woman's husband or her father, not a violent crime against an autonomous human being the woman herself. I mean, how screwed up is that? It makes me mad, just like slavery makes me mad, that we even had this have to be a part of our human history. Like, you wish we would have been more sophisticated than that. Think of what great works of literature have been lost to the abyss of time just because women didn't feel like either they would be respected if they published, or because they wrote and just were forgotten and disregarded, or maybe just because they were too busy having to be wives and mothers because, you know, that's the only occupation men allowed women in that time. I mean, even Emily Dickinson, she never published anything in her lifetime, maybe because she didn't want to be ridiculed like most women writers were at the time. Think about how unkind it was for Milton to take a 16-year-old wife when he was like 32 or something like that. I mean, oh yeah, no, don't worry about it. Maybe she wanted to write an epic poem of her own or something. No, just, you know, she just go on with your task while she cleans the dishes and makes you dinner and goes to bed whenever you want to. Yeah. Oh wait. Oh, what's that? Oh, she actually ran away after like a few months? So, a rise in the amount of great literature by women writers has happened exactly coinciding with the liberation of women at a political level. So is this a coincidence? Obviously not. I mean, obviously women felt not only psychologically empowered to be able to write, but literally in the mechanisms of society there, and they are actually able to, for the first time, to publish without being ridiculed, or, you know, without worrying that they were not fulfilling some other occupation that they were supposed to have by nature just because they were women. I mean, for myself, I'm glad that I live in an era where I have access to the imaginative, creative works of the other 50% of the population. So even if women now can write and be writers without much chagrin, I think there's still a need to actually become feminist. Remain feminists, remain strong feminists. First of all, we need to set an example for the rest of the world because, I mean, whatever you want to say about globalization and imperialism and all that, I think the US at least, and Europe is at least setting strides in liberation of women insofar as we don't have them women aren't obliged to be covered in the streets. Okay, I was editing this and I had to add a quick note about the hijab because some women in my campus would say, no, it's a choice, I'm not being forced to do this. Okay, obviously it's a choice in that sense, but shouldn't the people who make you feel uncomfortable, shouldn't the men who leer at you be the ones to change first before you have to do something extra for yourself to protect yourself from them. I mean, that's the whole point. It's like, you feel comfortable, you want to wear that, precisely because someone else is oppressing you. So I think the problem is we need to get rid of that oppression before we start tolerating this hijab as if it's just something normal that we can adopt, incorporate as a symbol of equality, because it's really not. So actually, a friend of mine is teaching in English in Ecuador right now, and they're going to do a dance for something for a school, and so one of her students that she's teaching is, her husband won't allow her to do the dance, and he won't give a reason, he just says no. I mean, it's insane to me that we're in 2010, and they're still in the West, I mean, South America's, a different kind of thing, but it's still technically the Western world, so to think that at this time and place, there's still husbands out there actually not permitting their wives to do something? Like, how insane is that? It just makes me want to punch the guy. What the hell? Who does he think he is? So women, at least in the United States, they're liberated to some degree. We didn't pass the Equal Rights Amendment in the 80s for some stupid oh yeah, because of the Republicans. Yeah, I forgot about that. God damn. But like, when people still make jokes about it, like, okay, I don't want to mention his name because it's just some other popular YouTube user who, like, looks at other clips of people falling and stuff and then laughs at them. And so he had some clip of a woman say, maybe if she was doing her job in the kitchen, she wouldn't have fallen like that. Okay, and he admitted that it was just a joke, and he even was saying, wow, that sounds bad of me to say that. But the fact that he can even make that joke still, like, irks me so much. Okay, so my video was improvised for the most part, so it kind of went downhill after that, and I was really scattered, so I just want to redo, basically, the last part. Saying that we don't understand, at a psychological level, what it does to be the second sex. The one who is always subordinated at a certain level, even if it's just with jokes, even if it's just small comments here and there. I feel like we men do not know what it's like to be a woman. What woman could not be a feminist? Anyone who says that she's not a feminist, I think, is kidding herself. And why? Because why would she not say that she's a feminist? I think because there is some stigma against it. Who would create that stigma except for men who already have the privilege? Like, do men not understand how much more infinite privilege we have to feel comfortable with ourselves, with our bodies, with social interactions, with almost everything? Men have it so much easier than women. In the way they have to carry themselves, in the way they can deal with friends, it's so much simpler. And I'm not saying that everything is great for men. Obviously, there's issues with men not being able to be sentimental, so that's obviously still an issue, but I'm trying to say we have not even begun to think about this issue, about the difference between the sexes, and we not even have begun to try and move towards true, complete equality. That's something that really needs to be fought for. Not only in the fact that other parts of the world are still trafficking young girls. I mean, why is it that the young female has always been the one exploited throughout history? It's something that just is so ingrained, so deep-rooted in our history. Thousands of years of male oppression does not just go away like that. I think it's something to be seriously thought on, and that's why jokes just really bother me, because until the issue is really dealt with by everyone, until it's become as taboo to be sexist as it is taboo to be racist, I don't think the task is done, and I don't think we're really in the period of time to win. I think we're in the midst of the struggle, and it's not the time to make stupid jokes that aren't even that funny. Thousands of years of suppression of women before finally, only in the last 100, 200 years, they're actually able to write a damn book. It's not really within my aesthetic to make jokes about something, a serious issue, until it's actually been resolved to a really profound degree, which means, like, at every level of our daily interaction, we treat the sexes with complete equality. So those are my reasons for being a feminist, and, I mean, okay, so I mostly read literature, so of course I'm going to have that take on it, but I think, you can take any example and see how it's symptomatic of the problem as a whole. Well, thanks for watching.